Donald Trump is going to be really good for risk assets in 2025. I've got 5 reasons that I think crypto is going to go crazy under a Donald Trump administration. And yeah, it's going to be bumpy. As we've seen, there's a lot of headline risk, right? Every time a new tariff thing gets announced, everybody kind of freaks out a little bit. So you're going to have a bit of that. But the underlying realities of what the Trump administration is likely to bring in are some fundamentally bullish things for the cryptocurrency markets, for risk assets more broadly. So let's start talking about it. And the first, of course, is quantitative easing. So there's a few different reasons why QE in some variety or form, probably just straight up QE, is going to have to come. You see, right now, already in 2025, $9 trillion of US debt's actually going to be maturing, and it needs to be refinanced. And guess what? Right now, it's going to be refinanced at a higher rate because interest rates are higher right now. That's about a quarter of the US debt that needs to be refinanced at higher rates. Not good. Not good. They need to get the rates down sooner than later. This is a massive problem, and probably the only real solution to it, as is so often the case, is going to be some form of money printing, some form of currency debasement. It always happens. Always seems to play out the damn same, doesn't it? This is a monumental crisis that will require monumental money printing. There's a few other factors too. We have the Treasury General Account. You see, the U.S. government's going to have to soon begin a drawdown of the TGA. Now, this could in effect mean a gargantuan liquidity injection up to around $800 billion. So this is not exactly quantitative easing, but it's kind of like quantitative easing in its effect. You see, the TGA can be thought of as something like the government's bank account. Okay, so they got a bank account over the Federal Reserve and they can, bring money in and out of it. Currently, there's a balance of around $830 billion over there. Now, that money just sitting idle, not really doing much. So it's kind of removed from the markets. But if the government begins to draw down that TGA, well, guess what? That's more money coming into the markets, baby. That's liquidity. Cool. A TGA drawdown and quantitative easing, it's not the same thing, okay? There are similarities. It's an injection of liquidity into the system. Either way you want to look at it, it's a liquidity injection, okay? Very clearly. And it's not QE, but it's kind of QE at the same time. Key thing is, hundreds of billions of dollars might be injected into the U.S. financial system as the TGA gets drawn down. And we've seen in the past where TGA drawdowns have pretty much coincided with asset appreciation. Let me just translate that for you. It means your Bitcoin, your dog coins, all go to the moon. Also, we can add in here that there's a pretty much consensus view from New York Fed dealers and stuff like that quantitative tightening is going to end in June, and the Fed's balance sheet will end up just under $6.4 trillion, reserves around $3 trillion. Now, this is very, very important because quantitative tightening has been going on for quite a while. When quantitative tightening ends, there's usually a small gap, and then quantitative easing begins shortly thereafter. Now, if the Wall Street goons are right, and we do get the end of QT in Q2, that's good for our risk assets. The second reason so that's all stuff that Trump is going to be presiding over. The second reason is that Trump wants a weaker dollar. Now, Trump stated this many, many times that he wants a weaker dollar because a weaker dollar is good for a variety of reasons, whether it be about trade imbalances or negotiating positions or anything else. Trump wants a weaker dollar. Trump's going to get a weaker dollar. Trump's last presidency was very much a weak dollar presidency. A strong dollar is like a wrecking ball. A weak dollar, that allows for a bit of good times to reign in risk asset markets. So Trump wants a weak dollar. He'll probably get a weak dollar. I know that there's been some spikes in the DXY, so the dollar index, versus, the other major currencies in the world because of the tariffs and stuff like that. We've seen some spikes in that as markets get a bit spooked. The long-term plan here for Donald Trump is to bring risk assets up by bringing the dollar down. It's like bringing more smoothness into the economy and into markets by having a weaker dollar. Trump did it his first term. Trump's going to do it his second term. So watch out. Weaker dollar is going to be good for your risk assets. Now, real quick, before we get into the third reason, I want to give a quick shout out to BitUnix. Guys, if you're trading crypto coins, you got to get yourselves an account over at BitUnix. It's a no KYC, no VPN, no BS exchange, meaning you can just click on that link down below, start your account, deposit some USDT, and start trading and have a good time. That's it. Spot markets, they're really quick to list hot altcoins. Futures markets, very deep liquidity, so you can actually come over here and trade in size. Don't have size, you can still just come over gonna have a good time. So go check it out. You can even get $5,500 in trading and deposit bonuses when you're using that link down below in the description. So go and check it out. If you're a trader looking for a great exchange where you can have a little bit more privacy, some more functionality, go check it out. Link down below. Thank you very much. So, number 3, Trump also wants to lower the rates. Okay, there's a variety of approaches towards this. Obviously, the inflation problem needs to be solved. Trump believes that despite tariffs, which short term the market might get spooked by a bit, long term, tariffs don't tend to have that big of an impact on inflation. Realistically, we can look back at previous years of inflation and tariff news and see that short term you'll see spikes, but long term it doesn't actually have that much of a big impact. Things rearrange and move and people find a way to make things work. But the inflation is the key risk right now for the Fed. So if we see inflation spiking up dramatically, the Fed's not going to want to lower rates. But then in comes the oil equation. Donald Trump wants to start pushing for lower energy prices, and there's a variety of ways to make that happen, from making some kind of deal with the Saudis and OPEC to drilling more domestically, which he wants to do. Lower oil prices is going to mean less pressure for the average consumer and bring inflation down. Now, there's a lot of estimates that he's going to have to bring oil down so dramatically to counter the tariffs that it's not going to actually work, but let's see. Regardless, Trump stated multiple times he wants lower rates. And there's a variety of reasons why he wants lower rates, from the U.S. debt problems to his own businesses to U.S. consumers and the housing market, credit card rates, all this stuff, lowering the pressure on regular people, making more money available in the system, making it easier to borrow money in the system, all this kind of stuff. Lower rates is good for economic growth, as long as you don't spike inflation too much by doing it. That's the balancing act, okay? But this is what Trump wants, and lower rates are usually good for risk assets. Now, of course, the asterisk there is that a rate plummet is usually bad for risk assets, because it means that the Fed's responding to some kind of external massive crisis where their back's against the wall and they're forced to cut brutally and dramatically. That's not what you want, okay? You want a more soft landing scenario, which it's very few times the Fed's pulled it off. But if they did pull it off this time, then we'll just see rates gradually come back down to a reasonable level, which would be good. 4th reason, in case you haven't noticed, Donald Trump is incredibly pro-crypto. Now, in his first term, he was not very pro-crypto for a variety of reasons. I don't really like this whole Bitcoin thing. I'm a dollar guy. Crypto people got in his ear, okay? Now he's all about crypto. And actually, it's interesting. Before he got a lot of press for, Bitcoin strategic reserve news and stuff like that, Donald Trump was selling NFTs. Donald Trump was earning ethereum. Okay, I know it's not Donald sitting there coding the NFTs and all that BS, but companies that represent him and his name and his image were doing that. Okay, so Trump's been in the crypto game for a couple years already now, which is pretty crazy. But what's even crazier is everything that they're pushing forward. We are going to have a major, sweeping crypto bill coming in the United States probably this year. Okay, David Sachs, he's been put in charge of it. We're going to see big things coming here. Cynthia Loomis, she's working on crypto regulation as well. Hester Pierce, who is, they call her crypto mom. She is now the one heading up the SEC's approach to crypto. She's had the most common sense takes forever and basically been a complete dissenting voice. The entire Gensler regime over at the SEC, that whole 4-year debacle. So the right people are in the right places to make crypto bills come forward. It's going to set what the intended goal is to make America the crypto capital of the world. Then we have altcoin ETFs. So basically, we are going to get huge liquidity injections into XRP, Solana, Litecoin, Dogecoin, and probably by the end of the year, a dozen or so other altcoins. The altcoin ETFs are going to be massive because we've seen the wild popularity of Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs, not so much, but we've seen some good inflows to those regardless. But when you start seeing stuff like Litecoin ETFs, the impact of that can be absolutely potential. I mean, Litecoin's a small asset. ETF products coming in and buying hundreds of millions of dollars is going to send the price going bonkers. It'll be nuts, okay? And when people start getting rich off these things, guess what they're going to want to do? They're going to want to buy the next ETF. Become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then we have, of course, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, which is massive, massive news. I don't know if it gets passed or not. I mean, Trump might be able to say, hey, let's keep the Bitcoin that we have, and that's going to be our Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, our stockpile, whatever it's going to be. The thing is, actually getting a bill to pass through Congress where they say, we're going to buy 1 million Bitcoin, 200,000 Bitcoin a year for 5 years. That bill, if it makes it to Congress, if it gets debated on, that's probably not going to come until like September, October, which pass or not pass probably marks the top of the market cycle. But still, that's going to happen. Between now and then, the speculation of that, the buying the news effect of that could be absolutely massive, okay? Plus, we also have Trump tax cuts, which are going to be coming. Now, again, that has to be brought through Congress. It's going to be a process. Doesn't happen tomorrow. But if tax cuts are sufficient, it can offset any kind of inflationary pressures from tariffs. At the same time, the interest rates are lowered and all that other kind of stuff. The tax cuts could be really good short term for the economy. Okay? And number 5, the simplest reason why Donald is probably going to be good for your crypto bags is he's got bags, man. Like, yo, seriously, the World Liberty Fi guys, they've bought over $500 million of Ethereum and Bitcoin, Chainlink, Movement Labs, a few other coins like that. The DJT company, okay, Donald J. Trump company, they're going to be launching ETFs for Bitcoin and other stuff as well. There's the Trump meme coin, which I know has been like down only since it launched, but regardless, it's a multi-billion-dollar market cap meme coin. It's there. He's got a vested interest in seeing this stuff do well. We have a potential acquisition for the Bakkt group. Now, you may not know who Bakkt is. It was a big story back in like 2018. Big Wall Street firm getting into crypto. They got all the licenses and all the shit, but never really did anything. If he acquires that, that gives him the launch pad. I know it's not Donald directly, but the Trump family business, okay? And he's going to want to see the Trump family business and his sons and all that stuff do good. Yeah, it's nepotism. Yeah, that's the way it works, man. Welcome to politics. Welcome to human nature. But the dude's got bags, all right? And his sons have got bags, and they're going to want to see them do well. Anyway, what do you think? Is Trump going to be good for crypto, or will his policies just lead to the new Great Depression and we're all going to be tearing our hair out and gnashing our teeth pretty soon, wishing we'd sold anything when it was before it went minus 99.99999%? Thanks for watching.